Welcome back to Front Row Cinema, a movie podcast for movie lovers by movie lovers. I am your host, Teacher Trimboli, and with me, my co-host again tonight, all the way from Hallstatt. I got Swiss Alp Assassin in the house tonight, Mr. James O'Reilly.
Yeah, Swiss Alp Assassin. What a ridiculous thing.
And if you couldn't have guessed it from that, we are doing Ballerina, or the long-winded title they decided to go with, from the World of John Wick, Ballerina. 2025 action film directed by Len Weissman, written by Shay Hatton, and starring Ana de Armas, Angelica Houston, Gabrielle Byrne, and Keanu Reeves. And now this story tells the story of ballerina assassin Eve Macaro as she hunts down those responsible for killing her father. Pretty modest budget, Jim, about 90 million, but our opening weekend, not too great. 24.5 opening weekend. Worldwide total right now sits at 55.6. But we do have, maybe might get some legs here, the A minus cinema score. Uh, so
Ooh.
so maybe there's some hope at the box office. I don't know. Like we've learned from many summers in the past, summer's about to get really stacked. A lot of movies coming out week over week. I don't know how well this movie's going to do in legs. It's going to remain to be seen if this movie's going to end up like even hitting the original John Wick, never even speaking to the highs that John Wick 3 and 4 have done.
Yeah, I mean, legs is an interesting thing in 2025 because, like, I feel like if you're not going to see a movie, like, in the first couple of weeks that it's out, you're probably just going to wait for streaming because that's going to come sooner rather than later. And so, like, it feels like there's a much different bar to clear these days than there would have been in like the early 2000s movies we're doing, where like a movie could catch on through word of mouth and then build business over time or have strong holds week over week. Whereas now, like, even if I like heard a movie was pretty good, if I wasn't like super psyched to see it, I'm probably still just waiting for it to come to streaming. You know what I mean?
It's crazy how over time that window has just truncated exponentially to the point that if most people don't go their opening weekend, if it's not like a big, huge blockbuster type movie, they kind of just like disappear from the discussion.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is I don't know, seems like a con because back then we used to have some good, breathing ground to be able to see movies over time. If you couldn't go out immediately first weekend, now you're kind of like limited, where it's just like
Yeah, I
you
mean,
don't you
it's
don't have the
just
time.
it's a function of what the after theatrical market looks like, right? Because back then, you had a few choices. You could wait till it came onto the movie channels if you could like buy if you owned like if you rented like if you had the movie channels on your cable, you could wait till it came out to then. But then it was like a crapshoot. Like it's not like every movie was coming out on one of the movie channels. Like there wasn't enough movie channels for that to happen. You know what I mean? There wasn't enough time in the day because this is back when things were on at scheduled times, if you can believe it. You know?
What a world.
Um,
What a concept.
Right. Like they weren't trying to like sustain like huge libraries of streaming. They were just trying to fill 24 hours a day. You know what I mean? Um so like that was part of it. And then like your other option would be you could buy a DVD, but that's more expensive than a movie ticket. You know what I mean? And God knows how long you'd have had to have waited for to get that DVD, you know? So like it was just a different equation in every sense of the word. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
every sense of the word.
Yeah, it still seems like we're kind of still in like this holding pattern of like trying to figure out what like the best foot forward is with dealing with the afterlife on streaming and PVOD and all that stuff. So like it's a shame to watch some of these like middling mid-budget movies that are just kind of disappearing off the face of the earth because they can't make their budget back within the first weekend and they don't get the chance to breathe life in over a couple of weeks. So
Right.
they just kind of just disappear into the ether.
Yeah. The one thing I will say is that a movie like Ballerina, specifically because it is tied to like a piece of IP that is very popular, has a very good chance to eventually, and God knows how long that eventually might take, but has a very good chance to eventually become profitable. Because like what a lot of streaming services do is they'll be like, here's the John Wick collection, you know what I mean? And like
Yeah.
you'd have to imagine that this movie would be a part of that going forward. So like they'll probably get some licensing out of it. You know, I guess depending on what licensing fees are like these days, it may take them a while to become profitable, but I think that's why you see them take swings on movies like this, because like it's almost guaranteed to have a pretty long life on streaming services that will eventually make it go into the
Like it's
black.
profitable. Yeah. So I mean, at least, whether or not the movie has any actual value to it, it's good that we at least still have that in place to safeguard some of these movies that are coming out. Now, I truncated it down myself a little bit here, Jim, obviously, because I want us to get into the meat and potatoes of this. But I would be remiss if I didn't look at least one user review.
I think that's fair.
Yeah. And this is a fantastic one. Right out the gate. Again,
Oh
first
boy.
first review I saw when I clicked on user reviews on IMDb. It's a one-star review.
Okay. I do think we should do one-star reviews every time, by the way, if we're
Yes.
just gonna do one. Like,
I didn't even bother with the tens because I looked at the tens, but it was just basically like dick riding, like how cool the action is. There wasn't anything in it that was like overtly crazy enough to mention. So
right,
we're not even going over there. But this specific one-star review was definitely someone that we can Hall of Fame right here now, on our episodes.
oh
And
boy.
they write, just finished watching Ballerina, and honestly, it came across as a full blown misandrist revenge fantasy. The entire film revolves around a woman brutally eliminating man after man with no real nuance or moral conflict. It's portrayed as justified and empowering, but there's little to no accountability or reflection. If the roles were reversed, if a male character was hunting down and killing women in the same cold, calculated manner, the outrage would be immediate and widespread. Social media would implode. Critics would call this dangerous, and it likely wouldn't get released. But because it's a woman targeting men, it gets a pass, even praise. The double standard is hard to ignore. I'm all for strong females, but this felt excessive, even
Are you?
gleeful in its one-sided violence. Stylish visuals and choreography can't distract from this uncomfortable message that brutality is fine as long as you do it to men. That's not equality. That's another bias entirely.
Yeesh.
Dear God,
Like,
bro. That's a dude who gets no play, bro. Like, women won't. I wonder why you don't get any women that want to give you the time of day, my friend.
yeah, it's like I almost feel like it's not even worth entertaining, but like the whole premise at the end of this movie, and like spoiler alerts in case you didn't realize already, is that she's fighting a cult of families. She's killing men and women indiscriminately when she's there. Like,
He
it's
very
not
like
like,
famously has a fight scene with like two women in like the Alps, like when she first gets there. Like, what are you
right,
talking?
right, exactly. And I mean, I guess like in like some of the earlier scenes, it's mostly men, but like when you think about it, there isn't really that many scenes where she's not fighting this cult. Like there's like that one scene in the club where she's like trying to rescue the Japanese girl. Or the Asian girl. I don't know if she was Japanese or not. I think she was.
Hard assumption right there.
Yeah. I can't remember if the movie made it explicit or not. I want to say that their names sounded very Japanese. Um, but like outside of that, and I mean like she finds like the cult dude at the end of that scene, doesn't she? Is it that one or is it like a later one? Outside of that though, she's dealing with them basically exclusively for like three-quarters of this movie, right? Like or maybe closer to half, you know? And again, they're a cult specifically, as I understand it, of people who didn't necessarily leave this weird criminal underworld the way John Wick did, but they like got married in it and went to a place where they could raise a family and like earn their keep by doing this kind of assassiny stuff. So yeah, I don't get it. I don't think this guy's making any sense whatsoever.
Zero sense. Because so like, what about any action movie where like man murders other men indiscriminately? Like, why is that okay? But like a woman doing it isn't. Like, what does it matter? Like, it's a movie. Like, she's got to kill people in her quest to get to the person that took out her dad. Like that
Right,
to me
right.
doesn't scream, oh, it's showing that like killing men is okay. Like it's like what the fuck are you talking about, dude? Like
Not even a little bit. It does, isn't showing that. And then I wanna get back to like not to just like sit on that the whole time. What did he say in the beginning about the action and the like senseless violence? Like what was the quote? It
where are we? The
was like
entire
within the first like two or three sentences.
He writes the entire film revolves around a woman brutally eliminating man after man with no nuance or moral conflict. It's portrayed as justified and empowering.
Okay, stop there. When in any John Wick movie has the violence had nuance? Like
Zero.
when?
Zero. Yeah,
When?
like, and there's another one in
Or
John Wick.
morality. It's literally like the whole point of it is the world they live in has like its own like dark kind of morality, and it does not include murder. Like murder is like encouraged in this world. You know what I mean? It's like when has a John Wick movie had either of those things?
Like they're just stylized video games, dude. Like you're
Right.
thinking about it way too much. Like John Wick himself in like 3 and 4 murders like dozens upon dozens of human beings.
Right.
Totally okay. But
Right,
God
with no
forbid,
nuance, by the
yeah,
way. He's
zero
literally doing
nuance.
it like as brutally and as
Yeah,
quickly as he possibly can because there's like 10 more of them down the hallway trying to kill him. And he's doing it for a large part of it like just like on the streets of New York City. Like,
yeah.
you know what I mean? Like that's not it's there's no never been any nuance, man.
He just takes like what's in 4? Like there's a whole like 10-minute sequence where he takes that like insane dragon breath shotgun
Yep.
and just mows down people.
Right, and
Oh,
talk about a video game. I mean, the way that that scene is shot, it's literally like a video game. Like it's like that top-down, like 2D kind of shooter view where you can see around walls, but like the people just can't necessarily.
so like
So I don't know. This guy's a moron.
yeah, absolute just L take from just a culture warrior moron that just
Right,
has
right.
zero actual film criticism
His
for
brain
any
is rotted. His
his
brain is
brain.
rotted.
He's
There's
watched
nothing left in
yeah,
there.
he's watched too much. He's gone down too many YouTube rabbit holes, and he can't come back out.
Right, right.
Yeah, which is like isn't to say that like there aren't things that you can critique for this movie because like we're gonna dive into it right now. It's just like there's plenty
Yeah,
in this movie that I have to critique about it, but none of it, absolutely zero of it, has anything to do with Ana de Armas and her ability to just like deal with the plot of this movie. Like that's like
right.
it's like so insane.
I will say that we often like to compare the older reviews to the newer reviews. All I'm going to say is in 2003, 2004, there is no way that this person is not reminding us that Anna de Armas is a babe. Like,
Just gonna say,
there's no way.
I
In
was like,
2025, the hate for women has gone so far that they're like, we're not even going to give her that.
well,
Like,
because now in 2025, like gloves off, they can't stand these people. Like women in general to them, it's just like an affront to their being. Whereas back then
right,
they were like,
right.
oh yeah, good looking woman is good looking.
Yeah. That was the only thing I liked about this, and I'll see it again just for that.
Yeah, so man, we've gone from two sides of the absolute extreme, but but let's actually dive into the movie here, Jim. How did you feel about Ballerina?
I mean, it's like it was okay. I didn't think it was like necessarily bad. Where I wanted to start was with a question that like comes up in our reviews kind of a bunch, and I want to see if I'm being a little bit too much um, well, actually, you know what I mean? I want to see if I'm
Yeah.
being a little too much like that.
You too chatty?
Um,
Let's hear it.
and maybe this is just a good opportunity for us to just hammer down where we are on this kind of topic. But
Okay.
how important to you is continuity in a movie like John Wick?
Not very important. I don't
Not
really,
very
yeah,
important. Okay.
I don't really
Because
care.
like it kind of struck me, and like I think the reason it struck me is because it undermines a lot of like what John Wick is doing in the third and the fourth movies in terms of like how he's moving as a character. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it also like feels like just like a very cheap way to get this Keanu Reeves in this movie a little bit more. But I do want to start with continuity because like as best I can tell, this movie takes place somewhere between like the third and the fourth movie.
Yes, it does.
Because
So
in the
like,
beginning, he's getting his ticket punched. They're
yeah,
like burning the brand into him that says, "Look, you did it. Like you're out now, and that's that. You know, like we're not there for you anymore. You're not a member of us anymore."
yeah, I think what they do is they don't really define enough the stretch of time that Ballerina is taking place over. Because
Right.
that opening when we see John Wick in the hallway while she's there definitely is from the beginning of three. But I think by the time he shows up to deal with her in the Swiss Alps, all of three has already happened. And now it's just
Right.
sometime gestating between three and four. But
Right.
like, yeah, I agree with like the thing that I hated the most about this movie is them shoehorning John Wick into it. And I have
Right.
caveats about that because like it's it's a tale of two halves and part of my lizard brain because the structured analytical screenwriter in me looks at that and goes, that's just a cheap shoehorn to like get him into this movie. Also,
Absolutely.
I agree with you that it really takes away some of the foundation of like his journey from three to four, where it's like, oh yeah, I just made a pit stop in the Alps to fight a ballerina for zero reason.
Right, but I want to dig into this because like he in the whole point of him getting his ticket punched is that he's severing all ties with these people. And that
Yeah,
happens in the beginning of this movie. And then like the only
literally
time they
an
talk
hour
about I
later,
think
she's
is it
calling.
says like a couple of months later or like a few like maybe even 2 months later is when she's like more of an assassin and she's like more weathered now. Um so like obviously the third one takes place over just like a period of like a couple of days, if I remember correctly. So that's been done with. And I don't think the fourth one started yet. So like the fourth one, it's a huge part of the movie that he has to go get back into the good graces of the Ruska Roma. Like he goes and he's like, "Look, I need to be a member again," and they're like, "Well, it's gonna cost you." You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like you got your ticket punch, and they make it seem like he's persona non grata when he goes there.
yeah.
Like they make it seem like don't they even like chain him up at one point, like in the fourth one?
They do, yeah, and then
Right.
they make him go like deal with what's his like that fucking like weird like fat mobster guy.
Right, right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was I
I
forget who
forget
it
what
was, but it was
yeah, I
somebody
forget
in
what
a
his name
bat
is.
suit.
Yeah,
But yeah, so I'm supposed to believe that in between those two things, she's just like calling him up for very official Ruska Roma favors, like that are like known quantities in this like weird underworld that they have. Like this cult is not unknown. Like everybody knows who they are, like and they're like part of the whole game. So you're telling me he's doing these kinds of errands, like where he's gonna go do housekeeping for them with this cult to keep the peace, and like then like however many days or what months or years later, they're like, "Oh my God, how could you come back here? Chain him up." You know what I mean? Like it doesn't make any sense.
shoehorning him in really like messed with the lore of it. But even getting at a more like transactional level, it's cheap. It's just cheap shoehorning him into this movie, and it's just a way for them to be like, hey, this takes place in the world of John Wick. We also know that like it's going to put butts in the seats, so like we're going to
Right.
shove them front and center. So
Right, and this is kind of a cheap way for us to make a John Wick movie with Keanu Reeves not needing to do all kinds of crazy shit.
not
You know
needing
what
to
I mean?
do,
Like
yeah,
he can just show up for like a week and do like a
yeah,
couple of fight scenes with Ana de Armas and call it a day.
yeah. So like so that I really didn't like about the movie. But I will say, having said that, I do really like their fight scene. And the thing that I really like about their fight scene is the fact that at no point during the like 6 to 7 minute fight scene does she land a single punch on him.
Right, she
Like,
never gets the upper
yeah,
hand. Yeah,
she never at one point it has stands a chance against him. And
right.
like, so like I like that they were like understood and respect the dynamics of the character work.
Could
So
you
like,
imagine that one-star reviewer? We would never
yeah,
would have been able to read it because his head would have
yeah,
exploded.
he was like, and the fact that she even laid a pinky finger on John Wick,
Right.
heads would explode, our pets' heads would be falling off.
Yeah, so I don't know. I guess that answers my question though. I probably care about the continuity a little bit more, and it seems like you're kind of just like, ah, fuck it. Like, who cares? Like,
I mean, I do and I don't. Like I do like I appreciate it when it happens, but like there's also times where like when stuff grows so big and expansive and other people are coming in, shit's gonna start getting muddied. Like it happens with
Yeah.
every single property. So like I try not to let it hamper too much because at the end of the day, like as long as it's something like minute, but like I would never like get on somebody for like if that did really bother them, I'd be like, yeah, I totally get that. Like understandable.
Yeah, and like I'm definitely closer to like not really giving a fuck at all, but like I would say like it bothers me less when a movie like Alien or a franchise like Aliens or whatever you want to call it, right?
Yeah.
Like rewrites the Wayland story like six different ways over the course of like 40 years, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it always feels like he's in a different spot in it and like somehow fits into it a little differently or his goal is a little different even if it's like kind of similar like that I don't care about but like when you're making like a spin-off of movies that came out like within the last 5 years like it's
Yeah.
like it matters a little
Yeah.
more you know
There
and
should
like
be
I'm
some.
still closer to it not mattering at all but it like it matters enough where while I'm watching the movie I'm kind of like scratching my head instead of just enjoying it you know what I mean
No, it I definitely get that. And I mean, to me, I like it bothers me more that he's even in it to begin with than
yeah
them
yeah
fucking the continuity up at all. Because it's just like if you never put him in it, like he shouldn't have been, like we wouldn't even have this issue. So it's like so that bugs me, I think, the more than the continuity. It's just the fact that he's in it at all.
yeah.
And it's
But
a
other
shame
than
because
that,
I like large portions of this. I think the action is like really well done in this movie.
yeah,
The whole second half of this movie when she gets to the Swiss Alp town and it turns out that the entire town is in on it and like she's gonna have to fight her way through the entire town. Fucking sick. Like
yeah,
that's
it was pretty cool.
such a good reveal. Like when she goes into the little like restaurant when she first rolls in, like to get the lay of the land, and like immediately like people start attacking her. And like one of my favorite small things is you see just like a couple sitting eating and you think it's just tourists. And when all the shit goes down, like they run out and you're like, yeah, get out of there. But then 2 seconds later, you see them run to the car and they just start getting weapons and then coming back in. You're like,
Right,
dude,
right.
like this is awesome. Like
Yeah,
this is good.
there was one shot in particular, and it was I think around that same time, like when she first walked into that like bar restaurant place, and the one lady like grabs her kid and like hurries them out of the place and like to leave. And you're like, oh man, like at least everybody in the town's in the know enough to know like to get out of Dodge because like they know
Yeah.
something's gonna go down. But then like later on, like when the people are coming back, that same mom is like ready to go, and it's like that was the shot for me where it was like, okay, cool, like everybody's in on it, and like they tell you in this way that's like, you know, it's like in your face, but nobody is ever like, oh my God, everybody's in on it. It's like they do it with a visual, you know what I mean? Like, which I thought was really cool.
Like you are learning as she's learning because it's just she's just bombarded with people left and right, and she's just like
Yeah,
doing whatever she can to and like and this and if there's one thing I love about this movie the most that many great action movies understand, it is that for us to be endeared to our main character, they have to get the ever living shit kicked out of them throughout this
yeah,
movie,
yeah,
and they have to
absolutely.
keep fighting because they're all heart and she gets the ever living shit kicked out of her in this movie, which is
Yeah,
another thing
yeah,
against like this idiot's review where it's just like it's shown that it's justifiably okay for her to like mow down people. And it's like, yeah, she kills people and she kills a lot of people, but she never just mows them down. Like she has to fight for every single inch
right,
in this
right.
movie. Like,
Especially when she's in that town. And like, yeah, in that, even in that opening club scene, she gets like her ass beat a lot. You know what I mean? Like, it's like
like
very,
she more survives it than like beats everybody down.
right,
It's like she's
right.
just like gets the upper hand and is cunning enough to take advantages where she can get them. Like,
Right, right, which is like a great way to set that character up because like I do think it's important like in any action movie, but especially when it's like a very like petite female lead, you know what I mean? Like you need to use the physical disadvantages to the movie's advantage. You know what I mean? Like because it does make it like way more interesting that it's just another hill for her to climb, you know what I mean? Like another obstacle to overcome. So, I mean, like, it's the difference between like those old Jean-Claude Van Damme like kickboxing movies where he would get like in the final fight, like it'd be a real like knockdown, drag out like brawl, versus like Steven Seagal movies where he just like flips everybody who gets anywhere near him and like he's never in any danger. You know what I mean? Like it's like I don't know. I think that it's something that all the John Wick movies do really well. And I do want to talk about the ending a little bit more because like overall, I would say this is like a pretty watered down John Wick movie, which I think is kind of what it's supposed to be. You know what I mean? Like I think that's exactly what they were setting out to make. And
Well, I
because
think,
it's so watered down, I
yeah.
think it succeeds in a way that some of the other John Wick movies have failed, specifically John Wick 3, where John Wick 3 is so long and the action sequences, while awesome, are so long and so exhausting. You know what I mean? That like there's points in John Wick 3 where I'm like, okay, yeah, he's still just trying to get out of New York, and there's like 15 minutes of him like karate chopping and shooting people left. It's like I guess I'm just gonna strap in for this. You know what I mean? Like I can only see a guy gung fu kill so many people before I'm just like, this all feels like the same. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and I feel like John Wick 3 fails at that, like maybe the most spectacularly, where it's like leaning so hard on that part of it, and the plot is so paper thin, and like the character growth is so paper thin. Whereas I feel like because this one's watered down and they're trying to focus on a different character and give her more of an arc and a story, that the action itself feels a lot less long-winded. And then, of course, it is watered down, so it's like I feel like even though the scenes are similar, there's never anything quite as grandiose as any of the big action sequences that happen in John Wick. And I think it's to this movie's credit. Not that I think it's better than John Wick 3, but I think in this one specific element, it's like kind of a breath of fresh air for this
Yeah.
franchise, you know?
I think it serves this story better for it to be like that anyway. And that's probably also a point because like Anna de Armas is not Keanu Reeves, and like the way in which like he was doing the John Wick movies is like one, not sustainable because like you could even see the toll it took on his body.
Right,
But
right.
also like I don't know that there was really anywhere else that you can take that kind of grandiose gung fu after chapter four. Like you kind of really needed to like switch up the formula a little bit, where like you still have those action scenes, but maybe give it a little bit more breath in between them now, and maybe try like a little bit different route into this universe. Which I think is both a pro and a con, because I do agree with you that this watered down version helps benefit this movie in the sense that like we're going to go on a little bit more of a plot based journey that will lead to specific action beats, but we'll still have more of a plot. I think where it drags a little bit for me is them trying to do too much plotting. And this is not something that this movie is just offensive for. Like it's other movies as well that do this, where just movies today are just too long and they don't know how to be edited down properly. Because do we need any of that opening where her dad gets gunned down and you have this like long 10-12 minute scene of that? Like if this just opens up with her in that club after she's killed that dude in the bathroom, and you start this journey, and as we're going along we're discovering that like she's like being hunted by these people that killed her dad and are now looking for her, like do we lose anything out by missing that like long-winded opening?
No, I see what you're saying. Yeah, like you probably could just start like with her I don't know. I think it's like important to see her like graduate out of it and grow into it, if that makes sense. I do think that like parts of the stuff that happened when she was like, not like when she was a little kid, but like the scenes like right before she went on the first thing, where like, I mean, it seems like that was like a couple of days she was at that place. It feels like that could be a little bit of your opening, and then like maybe the inciting incident happens where it's like she gets the guy with the X on the hand, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
then, like, we also need to know what the X means. Or, like, I guess she could just
Well,
take
that
his hand and bring it back, and then we're like, what the heck is that all about? You know? Like, I guess that could work.
Well, then that
But
builds
I
the
do agree with
mystery
you.
of her searching
Like,
for these people, because the middle section of this movie where she just knows, like, because like to me the middle chunk of this movie is supremely boring, because it's I need to find out where these people are, but she does like literally nothing to do it. Like she goes to find one dude who doesn't give her an answer, and then she just goes to a random shop to get weapons, and that guy's like, oh yeah, hey, they're here in the Alps, and it was like,
right,
oh
right,
fuck, that
right.
was easy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she did have to help the guy defend his gun shop to do it. Like, so it wasn't necessarily super duper easy, but I get what you're saying. There wasn't much
I
mystery
mean,
behind
like, I mean, in like figuring out the location, like they build up
it.
this
Right.
whole location, and then like the one shop she walks into, like that guy just tells her where it is. Like
Yeah, but
that
that's the thing
seems
though.
so like it's too easy.
To me, that's the part I don't care about in a John Wick movie as much. You know what I mean? Like, to me, like you're almost like asking it to be like more of like a spy thriller, like a Jason Bourne movie. And that's to me, that's
Not even
not what it is.
No, not even like a spy thriller. Like I don't need there. Like I'm saying there could be maybe a mystery of it, but there doesn't need to be a lingering question throughout this whole thing where she's hunting to find out where they are. Like honestly, I think this movie might be even better served if you simplify it even more. Everyone knows where they are, but no one's stupid enough to go in there alone. But she is because
Right. And then
she
eventually she's just pushed to the brink where she makes the decision to go. Yeah,
yeah.
which actually like there was one thing I thought would work better about this movie, that because I do think it's like kind of clunky in the way that it's plotted. Like like you said, she does go talk to Norman Reedus. And then like this is
Wasted
also
Norman
probably
Reedus.
why the beginning of the movie is in there because like I do think that it pays off in that part when she goes and he's with his little girl and now like those people are doing the same thing to them that they did to her and her dad, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
and like there's no way for us as the audience to get that short of like either crappy exposition or like an awesome opening scene where the dad dies, you know what I mean? Like it's like I think that part of it maybe like does pay off maybe a little more than you're giving it credit for, but where I kind of wanted this movie to go when she
Yeah.
finds the little girl is I wanted it to be that they were chasing her. Like I wanted her to keep the little girl and like be on the run. You know what I mean? And have that cult going after her to get the girl. Because that to me is way more interesting. Like where um she's like basically protecting herself throughout the middle of the movie. Like she sees herself in this little girl. Their situations are very similar. Her dad also probably just died. Like we find out later that he didn't, right? But like,
Another cop out.
yeah,
Like it's
kind
like
of a cop out, yeah.
yeah, another
But
cop
like
out.
to me, that made a lot more sense for me in the middle of the movie. And then what happened instead was like she just like saved her from the hotel and then like I guess like sent her somewhere for a little while.
Or
Like oh no, she got kidnapped,
yeah,
yeah.
or even like if you want to go a little bit deeper and really play up how like the revenge is like very self-serving and selfish, she takes that little girl because she knows they'll come after her.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
So like
And
it's
then
not
I
even like
think
she's on the run to be like hiding her or anything. Like she's gonna take her to a spot to set a trap to bring them in there. So it's just like you're putting this little girl like in horrific danger for your own self-serving needs.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that. And I mean like I still think it could build toward basically the exact same ending, which is like eventually she realizes that there is no running anymore and that to save this girl she needs to go like to the heart of the beast and rip it out. You know what I mean? Like that to me like still works, you know?
Something
So
with
like
like a little more meat on the bones. But like this is
right.
where we talk about how this feels like a very watered down John Wick, where it's like it doesn't have that like extra seasoning or like meat on the bone that really gives this that juice.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree. I think
Yeah.
like they were trying to lean more into the story of it and I think that again, I think it was a little clunky is the way I would put it.
Yeah, it was
It
convoluted
almost makes
at times,
you
and then
like
it
praise
takes
the other John Wick movies for not leaning into the story as hard, you
yeah,
know?
yeah. Well, I mean, it's weird that it would take moments where it would feel convoluted, but then like so easily solve problems. And I think that's the biggest thing for me. It's like I hate when movies put this like building block that's going to hamper your ability to achieve your goal, but then give you the easiest answer to get around it.
Right. Yeah,
Which
and I mean that also is pretty different than the John Wick movies because like one of the things those movies do so well is that like no matter how many people John Wick kills, he's just constantly in more trouble. You know what I mean? Like it's like part of what they're saying is like you can't kill your way out of some trouble. Like some trouble is just never gonna go away. You know what I mean? Like and that does kind of like culminate in the fourth one. So like I guess I don't know. I mean like watered down John Wick movie for sure. And like I'm still not sure if it's a great thing or a somewhere in between thing. I think it's probably like has some pros and some cons.
I would say it's somewhere in between because like I don't want it to feel that like I disliked this movie or was bored by it at any point. Like I was entertained throughout the entirety of this movie, and there's
Yeah,
good
yeah,
sections of this movie where I was like fully in and was like invested and was like, this is sick. I just wish there was a little bit more meat on the bone to, get us, from a good movie to a great movie, which is the
yeah.
level that all the other John Wicks really were at. So like it
Right.
had it had a high standard to hit, and it came in just underneath the high standard. Like, wasn't an outright like horrible movie to sit through, but it didn't quite meet the lofty expectations the John Wick movies have consistently hit.
Right. I
Yeah.
also will say I think there was a small thing that would have made this movie a little bit better and is kind of what I was expecting it to be like.
Hmm.
I thought it was like astonishing that they were training every ballerina to be an assassin. Like the way I viewed like that place in John Wick 3 was like they trained like the dudes to be assassin and they trained they trained the girls to be ballerinas. So what I was kind of hoping the story of Ballerina was like maybe she's like stuck in this role as a ballerina, but she's like, but mom, I just really want to be an assassin. You know what I mean? Like, and then like maybe she, or like maybe she really wants to be a ballerina, but she's never gonna quite cut it as a ballerina. So like, I thought
There's
there was something extra to add to like the idea that, she's kind of like breaking the mold a little bit by not doing the ballerina stuff and doing the assassin stuff instead, you know?
that's the real breaking of the mold for the John Wick franchise. Is if you make this movie that she's a ballerina assassin, but what she really wants to be is just a ballerina, like that's there, like there we go.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like you could have went so many ways with
Because
it,
in
you
the
know?
same way that John Wick is trying to kill his way back into just being a normal, like retired guy, like she's killing her way to just be a ballerina.
Yeah. Yeah, right. Like she's like maybe she's good at both, but she's so good at being an assassin that they're like, nah, you can't just be a ballerina. Like
You can't just be a
like that's
ballerina.
crazy. You're way too good, you know?
Yeah.
Like
Like
I feel like there was something there. And like it's in the movie a little bit. Like they have that whole weird like side story with like her friend w's like not so good at being an assassin, but is
so
like a
she
great
gets to be
ballerina. Like
she gets to be a ballerina and do Swan Lake.
right, but it's like why were they ever training that lady to be an assassin? I don't understand it. Like she could have just been a ballerina, guys. She didn't know how to learn she didn't need to learn judo. Like
It's a weird addition to like the lore of the movie, in that sense, where it's just like, what is the vetting process for this?
right. And it felt like they were like kind of toying with some ideas with that, and then like some of it made it into the movie, but it never was really like a big part of what was going on. Like I felt like there was a better way to fit that in.
So yeah, like we said, like some stuff undercooked, and it definitely feels like a watered down version. And I don't know that I have much other gripes or things to comment on for
Yeah,
this
me
one.
neither.
Yeah, I had one other one, but that one's more like a nitpick that doesn't even feel really worth like bringing up or like mentioning as like ruining the movie for me because like every action movie does it. But it's like the death-defying spectacle that absolutely would kill you. Like the whole grenade sequence, I hated every single second of it because it was like dead. You're all dead. You're dead. Like the whole building, you're dead. Like the one when she rips the pin out and just wraps the thing around his neck, and then she just like dives over a table while still holding him, and like she's just completely fine. I was like, yeah, fine. Just like, yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, see, but like that stuff doesn't bother me though at all. Like that I don't care about in an
Yeah,
action movie. Because like
like
that's
that.
like you could say that about every action movie
But
since
yeah,
like the
see,
beginning of time, you
that's
know?
what I'm saying. Like it's like that's like a nitpick, but it seemed to as time has gone on, gotten more and more ridiculous to the level of disbelief that you have to extend to it in some of the scenes where
Yeah.
it's almost like it's just stretching my believability. But like again, that's a nitpick. That's more just like my personal taste than it is like
Yeah.
any like affront that the movie made.
Yeah. I guess my final thought is the flamethrower fight was awesome.
Yeah, no, that was sick. That everything about that whole sequence was like that's the star piece of the movie. Like at that whole
Yeah.
point, I was like, yeah, this movie fucking rocks, dude.
Right, when she was just like, she was like, maybe that's what the guy was talking about too when he said mowing people down, but she was just like burning like dozens of people
Yeah,
alive. And
like
then like the other guy was
flame
like, I got a flamethrower too. Like,
she flamethrowered like 37 people.
right, right.
Like, at what point do we start leveling genocide? Like, she murdered like an entire town.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the town kind of had it coming. I mean,
They did. They did. I will say one last note. My final thought as well. Activating my lizard brain and me sitting up, being like, "This is the sickest shit ever." When when they the two flamethrower scenes, the guy that she was fighting, when he stepped on the dude on fire to light his foot on fire to use in the fight,
oh yeah,
I was like, "That's the sickest fucking thing ever, dude." Like,
yeah.
I was like, in fucking in, like, let's go.
Amazing. Yeah. He was literally like a video game character. Yeah, like
Yeah,
his foot was on fire.
yeah. Let
It's
me
like, and
tell
that
you,
adds
Jim.
power to your kicks. It has to.
I was fully reclined in my seat, and when he stepped on the body to light his foot on fire, I like brought my seat up because I was like, it's fucking go time, baby.
Right, 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 right.
So I was fully in. So yeah, so yeah, if you know, to anyone on the fence, it's definitely still a movie worth going to see. Like you'll get enjoyment out of it. Like, does it hit the lofty heights of John Wick? No, but it's not like a derivative, mindless action slop that we get out of a lot of movies that come out today. So it's still worth seeing, I would say.
Yeah, so here's my I don't think we should give these star ratings, or maybe we can
I agree
too.
with you. No, 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 I'm totally fine with not giving these star ratings.
I think we should give them like a determination though.
Okay.
Are they skip it, wait for streaming, or go to the theater?
Ooh, okay. Okay, I like that. I would say go to the theater for this one.
I would say wait for streaming.
So, but this is where we differ in our opinion of like what we like to see on the big screen. Because like I still think like a really big action explosive adventure like this is best seen on the big screen. Like
Yeah,
I
I would
get
say
why you say wait for streaming. I understand
right.
that
I
outlook.
just don't know that it's worth spending. Wait, how much is a movie ticket these days?
I don't know how much did you spend on that ticket, Jim?
I cannot say. Someone got them for me as a gift, actually. I didn't buy this time.
I mean, I don't know. It ranges. It really depends on if you're in a big city or like a, like suburban rural area. But
Well, give
anywhere
me the
from,
range.
I would
Like,
say
what?
anywhere from like 15 to like maybe like 25 if you're going on like Saturday night in the big city. Like,
25. Yeah, like I don't know that I could tell anybody to spend between 15 and $25 to go see this. Like, um, it's just not good enough. Like wait until it's on one of the apps you already pay for and just like have a fun Saturday.
well, I
You
guess,
know?
I mean, it would depend because like if they have plenty of programs now at Regal and AMC where you can do a monthly subscription fee and you're seeing movies, you could see up to 3 movies a week. However, so like the cost of the ticket is not as high as you're doing it because you're paying like
Yeah,
$25 a month and then you can see however many movies you want in that month. So this movie's almost comped in a way. Like there's options to be able to see all these movies for a decent price if you're smart enough to choose the right time. Because you go on a Tuesday for AMC, you can see a movie for $7 all day if you're part of their rewards program.
yeah, no, 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 that's fair.
Regal has one as well.
Wow,
So
they
like if
raised
you
it to $7.
yeah. Yeah.
Those
So
sons of
if
bitches.
you optimize your time bracket when you're going, you can see this for a decent price.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. I don't know. I think there's got to be
I,
something better out now that you
I feel
can
like
see
this is
besides
going to be
ballerinas, right?
it's going to be a tough one.
Ballerina.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one for us to do this because no matter like what the movie, I'm always going to say like whether even if I hated it or not, I'm going to be like, go
Well, yeah,
see it on the
because
big screen.
the thing is, you see them all in theaters because the big screen experience is very important to you. And it's not that it's not important to me. It's just like, I don't know. I get less time to go these days, so I have to be selective about what I actually go see.
Yeah, I know, and I feel
And
that.
this is a movie, I'll probably watch it a bunch once it's on streaming, but I feel like in general, you could probably just wait till it's on like HBO Max or something and call it a day. Like,
All right, so you heard it here, folks. You gotta wait for streaming from Jim and see it in the theater
yeah.
from me.
Yeah,
So
you want me to tell people to go see it in the theaters, do better, Hollywood. Like, impress me. You could do better. Come on.
Yeah, people are gonna think I'm just a paid shill telling everyone to go to the movies for every single
Yeah,
thing. They're like, I'm secretly just a Hollywood exec.
yeah, yeah. You got to give me something like The Accountant 2, okay?
Well,
Like,
just wait until we have like a decent review for like a Disney movie, and everyone starts calling us paid Disney shills and
please,
ridiculous for
Disney.
Bob Iger.
If you need anybody to shill for you, send me a check. I'll
Yeah,
do
yeah, right.
it.
My
I'll
vote
do
is
it.
yeah,
I
my
have
vote
no
is for
pride.
sale. Yeah, I have no compunction. My vote is for sale. Like, call me.
I'll say anything for money.
Yeah.
Like,
Me too. And I think with that, I don't think there's anywhere else we can go from there. So make sure you join us for our regularly scheduled programming every Tuesday. Every Thursday, you'll check in for our new movies. Go out, form your own opinion for these movies. And as always, we'll see you at the movies.